Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Be Relieved, where science, spirit, and nature meet to restore the body to its original design. I'm your host, AshleeNycole, health scientist and founder of Be Relieved. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Make sure you guys are following us so you're notified every time we release a new video. Today's conversation is especially powerful because we're exploring something we often talk about emotionally, but rarely understand biologically, which is love. Not just romantic love, but the kind of safety, connection, and emotional trust that literally shifts your nervous system, your hormones, and even your cells repair themselves. Our guest today is Aileen. She's a licensed acupuncturist for Life Acupuncture and Medical Qigong Center. She blends traditional Chinese medicine, medical Qigong, and modern physiology to help people restore their vital energy, regulate stress, and support deep healing from the inside out. Aileen will be one of our featured speakers at our February 28th event called Love, Cellular Regeneration, and Stress Resilience, where we'll explore how oxytocin, emotional connection, and safety in the body influences longevity, immune strength, and the body's ability to regenerate at the cellular level. So today we're giving you a preview of that conversation. And trust me, if you're interested in healing, emotional intelligence, or nervous system regulation, you're going to want to be in the room for her full teaching. Aileen, I'm so grateful to have you here today.
Hello. Hi, Nicole. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, for sure. Me too. As a health scientist, I'm just so fascinated by how ancient systems like acupuncture and Qigong map so precisely onto what we now understand about the nervous system, right? Or the fascia and I guess the right term is neuroendocrine signaling. So let's just start by grounding everyone in your work. From a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, how is love or emotional connection reflected in the body's energy systems, particularly the heart, lungs, and nervous system?
Well, in traditional Chinese medicine, emotions are actually not separate from physiology. It's an expression of how the qi, the life force energy, moves through the organ system. The heart is considered the emperor or empress, and it governs
Mm,
consciousness, emotional perception, and our capacity to experience joy, connection, and love. And when the heart is regulated, the entire system will function harmoniously. The lungs, yes, will govern qi exchange, right? Intake of breath. And it's our ability to receive that life force, external life force, into our internal life force, and our ability to receive inspiration and meaning. And so the lungs are deeply connected to grief, attachment, and our relationships to the world. And through the 5 element system, which is what we call our 5 internal organ system, the emotions will influence organs horizontally, while through the 3 burners, 3 sections in the body where the qi is converted, your emotional states will also affect how the energy will move vertically between the mind, the breath, and your nervous system, digestion, and your cellular metabolism. And when your emotional connection and love are present, the qi flows coherently from the intangible, that which you can't touch, your thoughts, your beliefs, and emotional meaning, into tangible physiology. And when love is absent or disrupted, that flow will become fragmented and physical imbalances will emerge.
wow. What I love about that is how it mirrors what we now see with oxytocin and vagal tone in Western physiology. How does chronic stress or emotional suppression disrupt the key flow? And what does that mean for cellular repair and immune resilience?
In Chinese medicine, imbalance always begins on the non-physical level. How your experiences, your physical experiences, are interpreted emotionally and psychologically. So chronic stress and suppressing your emotions or lack of self-trust will activate the persistent survival state. So from a Western perspective, this corresponds to chronic sympathetic nervous system activation, your elevated cortisol, and impaired immune signaling. So at a cellular level, then your stress will alter your gene expression through epigenetic mechanisms. The body will listen to your internal narrative or internal interpretation of it. And our beliefs about safety, your self-worth, belonging, they will organize physiologically in the body accordingly. And when the chi is therefore repressed and constrained, cellular repair will slow, inflammation will increase, and your immune resilience will weaken. But when the chi is restored, the cellular communication will improve and healing and regeneration becomes possible.
So when we say stress makes you age faster, it isn't just poetic, right? It's biochemical and energetic. In your clinical experience, how do you see unresolved emotional stress showing up as physical symptoms in tissues, organs, or even meridians?
The meridians, we should see that very clearly because in in the five element system, each organ is associated with specific emotional patterns. So for example, your lungs, if you have unresolved grief for a really long time, this will affect your lungs and your heart. And over time, this will impair the chi movement through the digestion, through the large intestine and the immune system. So clinically, I've seen patients with long-standing unprocessed grief or depression develop significant digestive and abdominal pathologies, even without conventional risk factors like smoking, for
Mm,
example. Someone can develop non-smoking cancer, for
mm,
example,
mhm.
non-smoking lung and large intestine cancer even. Okay, even though no history of smoking themselves. So these patterns, they're not about blame. They just simply reflect how deeply the emotional states influence the physiology over time. And if you don't take care of it, your body remembers what the mind avoids.
For sure. I think that aligns so clearly with what we know about inflammatory signaling and the cortisol's effect on DNA repair. So it's very important to be able to manage our emotional state to avoid our inflammatory signaling getting out of whack and causing issues like that. Can you explain how practices like acupuncture and medical Qigong help shift the body from survival mode into regenerative state?
Well, acupuncture works directly with the bioelectrical and fascial communication system of the body. So the needle stimulation will help release that stored tension, regulate the autonomic nervous system activity, and restore regular coherent qi flow. Medical qigong will work even more holistically. There's a few ways of doing it. There's in therapy sessions. For example, when I'm with someone, I send out a qigong field around them to help to rebalance. And at the same time, when I teach my classes, I'm teaching movement, I'm teaching meditation, I'm teaching breath work. And so for the person, they will learn to integrate the movement, the breathing, B, and the awareness, A. So when they know a little bit more about qigong, they will have their M, B, and A.
Mm.
And that will help the person to disengage from their habitual stress patterns and learn to reconnect with a larger sense of meaning and internal stability. So then together, these practices will shift the body from fight or flight to rest, repair, regeneration, and then healing will naturally occur.
Wow. I think that shift from sympathetic dominance into parasympathetic safety is where healing chemistry changes, in a sense. Oxytocin is often called the bonding hormone, right? So, from your lens, how does emotional safety and connection actually influence cellular communication?
Oxytocin is a hormone that is released when we experience safety, trust, and emotional connection. From a Western lens, this reduces the inflammation, enhance your immune signaling, and support tissue repair. From a Chinese medicine perspective, the oxytocin represents and reflects the heart coherence. So with emotional safety, it'll allow for the qi to circulate freely. The cells will communicate more effectively when the nervous system is calm and your heart mind. It's not just a physical heart, but your heart thoughts, heart mind. is settled. And your emotional connection will literally improve how the cells will listen and communicate with each other for better healing, for better repair.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I think this is where love stops being abstract and becomes measurable at the level of hormones, mitochondria, and immune systems. Like you said, also thoughts and our heart
Mhm.
spaces. What role does the heart feel and coherence play in regulating the nervous system and supporting longevity?
Well, in Chinese medicine, the heart, the emperor, empress, will govern the entire system. It'll set the rhythm for all the physiological processes. The liver system will act as the general, ensuring the smooth flow of qi and hormonal regulation, right? Because the general protects the heart. The kidneys in the low back, yeah, provides the foundational energy reserves. So because it's water, water will heat through the burners in the body, and so it's got both a warming and a cooling function. And so the kidneys will support your adrenal function, the stress tolerance, and aging.
Mm,
The spleen makes the blood, and through the food we eat, it's in charge of transformation and transporting the qi and blood all around the body to nourish the body. And the lungs provide through the breathing, yeah,
hmm
and breathing through sympathetic and parasympathetic. They provide the qi from the through the lungs, taken in through the lungs, so provide
hmm
the pushing force, the motive force, and
uh
therefore push the qi everywhere and around the body. And when you're calm, you're in love, you're in joy, you're in compassion, yeah. When the heart feels coherent, that means your emotional regulation, the steady rhythm, and clarity, it causes your nervous system to stabilize. And so
mm,
this coherence will support longevity by helping you to conserve your energy, you improve your endocrine balance, and
mm.
prevent chronic inflammatory states.
Wow. I feel like science is finally catching up to what ancient medicine has always taught us. The heart is not just a pump, it's an information center. Like you
Mhm.
said, it kind of guides everything. How does building emotional awareness and trust in the body help people recover from trauma, burnout, and chronic illness?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, building the Qigong will teach that all healing has those three components: the movement, the breath, and the awareness. When we ignore the movement, we disconnect from the body, right? When we ignore the breath, we remain in sympathetic overdrive. And when we lack the awareness, we lose our internal compass, our
Mhm.
self trust with the wisdom of our divine. So rebuilding emotional awareness restores the trust in the body. And the trust is essential for trauma recovery, burnout reversal, and chronic illness healing. And so the body will heal best when it feels safe enough to rest.
Right. Because a body that doesn't feel safe cannot fully heal, no matter
Mm.
how good the supplements are.
Mhm.
I guess in Chinese medicine, how do you view the relationship between the lungs, grief, and the capacity to receive love and life force?
Well, the lungs will govern our ability to take the qi in, right? The breath, and take it physically through your breath and your emotionally through connection. The excess grief disperses lung qi. When like children who are, crying in excess and they go, right? They're losing all the qi and you have to tell them, slow down, take a breath,
Right,
right?
right.
But when they're already in that kind of state, it'll lead to fatigue, lead to shallow breathing. And so the immunity will be weakened and there'll be digestive imbalances
Mm,
through the large intestine. So healing will involve taking perspective and emotional reframing. Yes, they took your toy, but we take turns and then,
hmm
right? And then the healing will help us to remember that impermanence, and we have to remember our meaning in life, and that we all have intrinsic value, right?
right.
So then when the grief softens, your breath will deepen and your chi returns,
Mm,
right? So that whole interpretation, reframement
mm,
is our human superpower.
yeah. Wow. I think that is so important, especially for people who feel stuck emotionally or energetically. I think that was a powerful analogy as well. What are some simple daily practices that people can begin now to support emotional regulation and cellular resilience?
We need to take small, im- consistent steps, practices, if you will, each day. And these small steps matter more than being perfect at it. Steps like uh, put down your device, step away from it regularly, learn to breathe consciously. Yeah. You need to learn to eat simply and regularly and sleep more than you think you need, right?
That's key.
Every day move gently. Yeah. It's okay to be, going for a run, going to a gym now and then, but that whole gentle move tells the nervous system to calm down. And then the other piece is every day practice a little bit of appreciation and gratitude. This will raise our energetic vibration. And so these practices also signal safety to the emotion system, nervous system, allowing for the cellular repair and emotional balance to occur naturally
Mm,
and better
yeah,
healing outcomes.
for sure. Well, I think that these small inputs, like you said, done consistently, reprograms the nervous system and gene expression over time for sure. At
And
our
don't even give yourself a hard time about it. It's
Yeah,
consistency.
okay, that makes sense. So not consistently, but just try to be proactive in doing it.
Proactive, doing it. If you miss today, try again later. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal. Just come back, come back, come back. And that's what we need. Consistency.
That makes sense. Well, thanks for that correction because I needed that nugget. At our February 28th event, what will participants experience in your session that they can't get from reading a book or watching a short video?
Well, they're going to experience a live embodied transmission of chi even through the internet airwaves.
Right.
They will engage in guided Qigong and meditation practices with me in real time and allow their nervous system to shift during the session, not just intellectually to understand the concepts, but I hope to be able to have people come into present time, into their own body in the live transmission. And they'll leave with practices they can immediately integrate into their daily life to recalibrate their chi, to regulate their stress, and restore emotional, physical balance.
I think there's something powerful about learning these tools in a guided, embodied, live environment, right? So I think that's what we're aiming for February 28th. But Eileen, this conversation alone just shows how deeply interconnected love, energy, hormones, and cellular healing truly are. But we just touched on today is just the surface, right? At our free live Zoom event on February 28th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is titled Love, Cellular Regeneration, and Stress Resilience. Eileen will guide us much deeper into how emotional connection, oxytocin, and nervous system regulation directly influences longevity and the body's capacity to repair itself. And for those who choose the VIP experience, you'll receive extended access, deeper teachings, and practical tools you can apply immediately to your own healing journey. This is about more than feeling good. It's about creating the internal environment where your cells, your nervous system, and your entire biology can finally exhale and regenerate. I'm so thankful for this conversation, Eileen. It was very profound, very grounding, and really just takes us back to the basics of being intentional with breath, with gentle movement. And it's just, well, this was a great conversation. Thanks for coming today.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, just remember to be relieved. We'll see you next time.